Hey everybody, welcome back to JNJtabletop. Today, we're going to talk about something pretty sweet in Dungeons & Dragons. It is the new Unearthed Arcana, and it's all about subclasses for the monk and for the ranger. Jake, what do you think about it?
I got a fever, baby. And the prescription is more dragons.
Wow. Hey everybody, I'm Josh from JNJtabletop. With me as always is Jake. And today, we are going to be talking about the new Unearthed Arcana from D&D 5e. And this one is subclasses, I believe subclasses number 5?
Yes, sir.
Subclasses part the 5th. This is brand spanking new. Today is October 26th. That's the day we're recording it. And this just came out. And I'm kind of excited about it. I mean, we got some stuff for the Ranger, which you guys probably know I'm partial to, and some more stuff for the Rogue. First glance, what do you think? Oh, God, some stuff for the Monk. First glance, what do you think about that, Jake?
I think it's cool. I mean, obviously, it's half the name, Dungeons and what? Dragons. So, just like the intro said, we got a fever, and the only cure.
When I say Dungeons, dragons. You say Dragons.
Dragons. Exactly. So Way of the Ascendant Dragon is the monk subclass. I think there's some exciting things here, and I'll just read a brief description here from the Unearthed Arcana. It says, monks who follow the way of the Ascendant Dragon revere the power and grandeur of dragons. They alter their own ki to resonate with draconic might, channeling it to augment their prowess in battle, soar through the air, and to bolster their allies. As a follower of this monastic tradition, you decide how you unlocked the power of dragons through your ki. The Ascendant Dragon origin table offers some possibilities. And I really like that. We don't have to go through all of them, but it gives you 6 things. This is kind of like the stuff they put in Xanathars, where you have a few different little touches that you could kind of add some flavor. And I often find that sometimes it just takes one little idea can spark a whole character concept, and I love that they included this. One is like you honed your abilities by observing a dragon and you aligned your ki with that. So I really like that they did that. I love any time that they can help facilitate storytelling. I'm always a fan of that. So at 3rd level, when you choose your subclass as a monk, the first thing listed is you're a draconic disciple. You can channel your draconic ki to imbue your unarmed strikes with the essence of a dragon's breath, and to use your connection with draconic creatures to magnify your presence. You gain the following benefits. When you damage a target with an unarmed strike, you can change the damage type to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison. So you don't have to just punch something. You could make that be fire or lightning or cold or whatever. If you don't already know Draconic, you can speak, read, and write Draconic, so that's cool. And then you also, if you have a feature, if you fail an intimidation or persuasion check, you can use your reaction to re-roll the check as you tap into the mighty presence of dragons. Once this feature turns a failure into success, that's when it's used up, and then you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. So like if you're a fan of 4E, this would be like if a power had the reliable tag. Like you just keep doing it until it works. Which I think that's kind of cool. And usually an intimidation or persuasion check is probably not going to be game breaking. So in that way, I think that's kind of neat. What do you think about that first feature, Josh?
I love that. I think that adding something like that, that's something that 5e could use. So like just a few abilities like that where it's exactly what you said, like reliable, like you use it until it works. That's pretty sweet. It's a nice little thing. Like you said, it's not game breaking, but in those moments where I don't know, you're in the king's court and you need to make a strong case for why he should do a certain thing or help you or let you go on his land and go into this dungeon to delve into it or whatever, and you fail that roll and you're like, all right, let's just try this again, see if it works. Like that's a really nice thing to have there. I really like that. More languages I'm always a fan of. And being able to change the damage type is that's just fantastic.
The monk, probably one of the things you might wish they could do better is deal damage more often, or like hit harder. And if you do encounter a creature with a vulnerability to one of these things, well, this is a way to do it. And that's really cool. So, or hot, depending on what you choose.
Or if you encounter a creature with a resistance to bludgeoning. Okay, well, now it's acid damage.
You could circumvent, you could circumvent these things. You're fighting a troll, you want to make sure they don't regenerate. Acid or fire will do the trick. There's a lot of versatility there that really, I feel like sometimes there are things that kind of just don't show up in the stat sheet that will really change the game. You know, a nice utility power and a nice feature like this, I think, can be really nice for a monk.
And I don't think that's game breaking, but I will say that if this ever makes it into print, I have a feeling they're going to make you choose a color dragon and use that type. I don't think they're going to let you choose from it.
Yeah, maybe like the sorcerer, the draconic bloodline, where you have to kind of pick one. I could see that.
Yeah.
But I could see flavor-wise where the fact that you're kind of altering your key to kind of, I could see that maybe going either way.
I can see that, yeah.
I wonder how they would do that, because
I'm hoping that it stays the way it is.
Yeah,
but
I think you make a case either way. You and I are usually of the mindset of, is it really game breaking? Like,
yeah, yeah.
Let him be cool. The other thing that you're going to get at level 3 is called Breath of the Dragon, which I think you could probably guess where this is headed. You can channel your ki into destructive waves of energy like the dragons you emulate. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace one of the attacks with an exhalation of draconic energy in either a 20-foot cone or a 30-foot line that's 5 foot wide. That's when you choose acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison. Each creature in the area must make a dexterity save against your ki save DC, taking damage of the chosen type equal to 2 rolls of your martial arts die on a failure or half as much on a success. At level 11, it increases to 3 rolls. And then you can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. And if you have no uses left of this, you can spend 1 ki point to use this feature again. This is definitely leaning into some serious mob control. I have a feeling that I could see them upping the ki point cost here on the ki economy, because that's pretty strong, especially if you compare it to some of the Way of the Elements powers that they have. But yeah, I mean, this kind of sets up nicely with the draconic theme. I mean, why not at this point? It does seem pretty strong, though.
It does seem pretty strong. Yeah, they're probably going to do something to balance that a little bit more, but I like it. Like, thematically, I think that's a lot of fun. I think that's really interesting. Basically, you get like a cooler breath weapon.
Yeah, I guess if you're going to give it to the Dragonborn for obvious reasons as a racial feature, I don't see why you can't do this, especially if it's just a resource you have.
Yeah.
I guess I could see it going one of 2 ways. Maybe just not as often would be the only thing I could see maybe getting nerfed.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Instead of proficiency bonus, maybe once a short rest. This way it's not something you can just spam, but you do get it back.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. Like, the proficiency bonus already isn't like that much. Maybe they'll do like half your proficiency bonus, round it up, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. And they do the proficiency bonus, so it is multiple uses, but it's long rest. I don't know. Sometimes that's a balancing act in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, serious mob control, which I think is a big theme in this subclass as we move forward.
Yeah.
Level 6, you get a feature called Wings Unfurled. When you use your Step of the Wind, you can unfurl spectral draconic wings from your back that vanish at the end of your turn. While the wings exist, you have a flying speed equal to your walking speed. Your Christopher walking speed. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. While you have no uses available, you can spend an additional ki point when you activate Step of the Wind. So normally to do Step of the Wind, you need to use a ki point to take the dash action. I see nothing game breaking here at all. I think anytime you can add flight, I mean, the spell Fly is a 3rd level spell, so typically characters are starting to get access to these kind of abilities even in some limited fashion around level 5, so I think it's kind of right on target there. And I love flying, slippery, utility spells like that, because I think it favors a creative player, and I see only fun things from this ability, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I think it's a nice, fun little add-on there. And monks are already so freaking fast, so just add flight to that, and it's just gonna be cool. Imagine Echo with every now and then the things that he could come up with. I would love to see that.
Yeah, if he does Step of the Wind at this point, I think his base speed is 35 feet. So if he does Step of the Wind, that's 70 feet. So you just fly for 70 feet. Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, that works. At level 11, they get Aspect of the Worm. And it says the power of your Draconic Key now radiates from you, protecting your allies from harm and punishing any who raise arms against them. As a bonus action, you can create an aura of draconic power that radiates 30 feet from you for 1 minute. Choose acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison, and for the duration, you gain the following effects. You and your allies within your aura gain resistance to the chosen damage type. That's nice. Waves of destructive energy flow out from you and your allies when any of you are attacked. When you or one of your allies in the aura is hit by an attack made by another creature within the aura, the target that was hit can use the reaction to deal an amount of damage of the chosen type equal to 1 roll of your martial arts die to the attacker. That's a little wordy, but
That's nice.
That's really cool. Once you finish this bonus action, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend 4 key points to use it again. So this is kind of awesome.
That's like it reminds me of the paladin aura, but just like a really, really cool parts to it, because you get the protection, but you also get the oh, you're gonna hit me? How about that? You know, that's pretty sweet. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, because this has dual purposes, right? Because so if you're in some kind of volcano or some kind of really underdark lava molten magma situation and you need to have fire resistance, well, just everybody huddle up, we got you. You could do that if you're in that situation, or if you're just needing to make sure you're inflicting extra damage. Well, hit me and I hit, and you're just getting hit back. That's just the way it is. So
yeah, that's honestly, it's like a low-key mob control option as well, because if you're in combat, if you're in the thick of it and there's a lot of you there, then it's all right, well, we have resistance to this, hopefully that matters, but if it doesn't, well, we're all trading blows within this 30-foot area, and anytime somebody hits you, they're gonna be sorry they did.
Yeah, this is one of those things too. I mean, the first thing I thought of for protective reasons was oh, an enemy caster shoots you with fireball. It's okay, well, huddle up. But another iconic AoE attack is from dragons. So if you're going against a dragon, take this monk with you. That will be very helpful. So
I like to think of the waves of destructive energy thing, the second part of that. So using your reaction to deal damage. Combine that with if you got a group of people huddled together, I'm thinking of that classic picture from was it page 5 or something of the player's handbook, all the warriors all huddled up pretty close. You guys are all that close. You got a couple sentinels in there. You got a you have your monk wave the Ascendant Dragon using this, and it's hit me, you know.
Yes, you are just daring them at this point. That's really cool. And it really isn't going to be overwhelming, right? So, I mean, the martial arts die, I'm not sure if it tops out at D10 or D12 off the top of my head. So, I mean, you could roll a 1 on that too. So it's not it's not going to be game breaking, but it's still just one of those things that might cause someone to stop. And if you are in a situation with mobs of minions style creatures, that's going to be a really nice feature to have. And then at level 17, you get Ascendant Aspect, and it says your Draconic Key reaches its peak. You gain the following benefits. You gain blind sight out to 30 feet. Within that range, you can effectively see anything that isn't behind total cover, even if you're blinded or in darkness. Moreover, you can see an invisible creature within that range unless the creature successfully hides from you. When you damage a creature with your Breath of the Dragon, that's the 3rd level feature we talked about, the energy clings to the target. At the start of each of the creature's turns, it takes damage of the type your breath dealt, equal to 1 roll of your martial arts die. At the end of its turn, the creature can repeat the save, ending the effect on itself on a success. And then also, when you activate your Aspect of the Worm, that's the one we just talked about at level 11, Draconic Fury explodes from you. Choose any number of creatures you can see within your aura. Those creatures each take 4d10 of either acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison, whatever one you had chosen. So this is kind of cool to me because a lot of times the capstone ability, I feel like is either something that just says, yeah, you get more points of whatever point economy you have, or you can activate this cool thing for a minute and you're just amazing for a minute, which you could do like once per day. This just enhances something you already have, making it really devastating. And I really, really, really love the flavor of each of these. Your blind sight, that's just a cool monk thing. And dragons, they have better awareness, so I like that. Just watch Lord of the Rings, specifically The Hobbit. Then also the clinging of the energy to the target with your breath weapon. That can inflict some nasty damage over time. And who doesn't like explosions centered on yourself that you can control whether or not they hit your allies? So this is just cool. I think it's cool. What do you think, Josh?
I think I agree with everything that you just said. I mean, dragons have true sight. So blind sight out to 30 feet. Very nice. I know that it's not like super strong, I guess we'll say, especially at level 17, to be able to see invisible creatures. Like a ranger has a similar ability, but I just think that's such a cool thing. That's like, I can still see you. Like, what? So what? Like, that's just there's something about that I love. And I totally agree with what you said before. Just like the fact that instead of it just giving you like, oh, okay, well, this one time you could make sure you hit when you would have missed, or like some crap like that, like where those capstone abilities usually are. This one's like, hey, how about not one, but 2 things you already have? I'm going to make them better than they already were. And this is just great. Like, being able to explode for 4d10 damage, fantastic. For creatures in a 30-foot radius, like there's a lot of creatures that you could fit in a 30-foot radius. That's fighting a boss and it's got some minions. There's a lot you can do with 4d10.
Or if you're fighting in a war and you just need a one-man squad to just go in there and just wreck face on a whole platoon of enemies.
That's like, you drop them down in the middle, they do the superhero landing, and then they use aspects.
They have slow fall.
Yeah, there you go.
And even if it's that far, I mean, they could just pop that spectral wings ability that they have.
Yep.
Just land, be like, hello, I have come to kick ass and to chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Exactly. Yeah, I love it.
So I think that would bring us over to the Ranger, which I know our Ranger expert, Ranger Josh, is going to be going over the Drakewarden here. So what kind of stuff do they have here? I only kind of just glanced over it a bit.
The first thing I have to say about the Drakewarden is, I don't know why, but there's something about the title Warden that I really like. Maybe it's because I was a big Dragon Age fan.
Yeah.
So Grey Wardens really, like, when I was young, it, I don't know, clung to me or stuck with me, but I love the title. But let's just get right into it. At 3rd level, when a ranger gains their archetype feature, they're allowed to choose Drakewarden. Drakewardens are rangers who use their magical connection with nature to form an enduring bond with a minor dragon, a drake. This bond allows the ranger to summon the drake to their side and to share in the awe-inspiring power wielded by dragons. Consider how your ranger gained their bond with the drake. The Drakewarden origin table offers some examples. And then pretty much the same thing as the monk. You got a D6 table of origins. And I read through these, pretty much all of them are like, I read it and I'm like, oh, this would be such a cool character, and like, like the wheels just start turning and the gears start going, and you're like, oh yeah, well, like maybe this is how this happened, and that's because of this, that, and like you just start choosing all this. Yeah, exactly.
Get that spark.
I think these tables are great. It was a great choice to have them in Xanathar's guide. It's even a better choice to keep them moving forward. Your first ability that you're going to get as a 3rd level Drakewarden is Draconic Gift. The bond you share with your Drake creates a deeper connection to dragonkind, granting you understanding and empowering your presence. You gain the following benefits. You learn to speak, read, and write Draconic, and you learn the Thaumaturgy cantrip, which is a ranger spell for you. That's pretty nice because rangers don't typically have cantrips. I love languages. I love, like, in this game, I love having characters who, like, for some reason they have a bunch of languages. Like, I think it's a lot of fun. So yeah, nothing game breaking there.
I agree. I think Thaumaturgy, flavor wise, fits in kind of perfectly because I know you can make your eyes different colors and you can, make your voice loud and stuff. So a lot of things, like you can shut doors and windows or whatever that are not locked in it. I don't know, there's like a dragon feel to it, I think, if you look at it in a certain way. So
yeah, with like neat. A dragon's ability to just like really control the room and just command everyone's attention, like Thaumaturgy, regardless of what room you're in and what audience you're in front of, you can use it to get their attention. Next one is going to be probably the most important thing out of this, and that is Drake Companion. And this is a lot, so bear with me. You can magically summon the Drake bound to you. As an action, you can summon the Drake, which appears in an unoccupied space of your choice that you could see within 30 feet of you. The Drake is friendly to you and your companions, and obeys your commands. See its game statistics in the Drake Companion stat block, which uses your proficiency bonus in several places. When you summon the Drake, choose a damage type listed in its Draconic Essence trait. You can determine the cosmetic characteristics of the Drake, such as its color, scale texture, or any visible effect of its Draconic Essence. Your choice has no effect on its game statistics. In combat, the Drake shares your initiative count, but it takes its turn immediately after yours. It can move and use its reaction on its own, but the only action it can take on its turn is the dodge action, unless you take a bonus action on your turn to command it to take another action. That action can be one in its stat block or some other action. If you are incapacitated, the Drake can take any action of its choice, not just dodge. Once you summon the Drake, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a spell slot of 1st level or higher to summon it. The Drake remains for a number of hours equal to your proficiency bonus, until it is reduced to 0 hit points. Until you use this feature to summon the Drake again, or until you die. Anything the Drake was wearing or carrying is left behind when the Drake vanishes. So it has a stat block here. Drake's going to have armor class of 14 plus your proficiency bonus. That's going to be its natural armor. With hit points, it's 5 plus 5 times your ranger level, so it's going to start out at 20. It's also going to get a number of hit dice, which are d10s equal to your ranger level. And then I'll just go over the Draconic Essence. When you summon the Drake, choose a damage type. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison. The chosen type determines the dragon's damage immunity and the damage of its bite, and the damage of its infused strikes trait. So it gets a bite attack, +3 to hit, 5-foot reach. It does a d6 piercing damage plus proficiency bonus damage of a type determined by the Drake's Draconic Essence. That's what we were just talking about. As far as reactions, we have infused strikes. When another creature within 30 feet of the Drake that it can see hits with a weapon attack, the Drake infuses the strike with its essence, causing the attack to deal an extra 1d6 damage of the type determined by its Draconic Essence. Whew, there's a lot to unpack there. This is like... It's kind of like what Beastmaster should have been. I guess really the only downside to this is that you could only summon it once per long rest, and then you have to use a spell slot to summon it after that. that can be kind of annoying. Like it almost feels like it should hang out with you a little longer, but everything else, kind of all about that. It's a lot of fun. I mean, you get to have a freaking dragon. Its size is small, which is not necessarily ideal for a dragon, but you get to have a freaking dragon. And being able to choose the damage type is going to be huge.
Yeah, like you said, there's a lot to unpack here. But what I do like is there's a lot to like about it, actually. It can kind of be like a little mini tank for you, just even if like in a pinch. And the thing that I like about it is if you're a Beastmaster, I know you and I have always joked about being like the mean Beastmaster that just sends the thing up in the front line, like, yep, just distract. I don't even care if you die. I'll just get another beast. This, it's almost like it's kind of even less. It's like more. It doesn't feel as icky to do that because you're just like, oh, I'll just summon again. It's like a familiar in a way. But it's got some good armor class. Naturally, it's going to start out at a 16, 14 plus your proficiency. And then every time your proficiency goes up, it's going to bump up 1. It's got a decent HP, 5 plus your 5 times your ranger level, so you're starting out at 20. And every time you level up, it gets 5 more. The bite attack, I mean, in and of itself, not that great because it's just a 1d6. However, the reaction makes somebody else's, doesn't even have to be yours, but can just make somebody else's damage even that much better. So, I mean, if you have Hunter's Mark going on here, now you're just adding an extra, it's almost like adding a greatsword to your damage at that point, because it's d6 for Hunter's Mark, d6 for your infused strike here, and boom, now you're wrecking house.
And you can just use this Drake as a tank, and it's going to use the dodge action on its turn every time. Skip the bite attack and just use infused strikes. And now you have this thing in the front lines. People have disadvantage to hit it. Plus, it's got an okay AC, and it's booning attacks that hit.
Yeah, so even if you're, because right, this is a game about action economy. So if you have to use your bonus action for something else, it's still useful with infused strikes because it can use its reaction. It's not just useless, which I think is really nice. And one theme I feel like I've noticed that you can see it in the Artificer. You get to do something once, like the Eldritch Cannon, the Artillerist there. And then if you want to do it again, you can just use a spell slot. So, which I think is kind of nice, because if this is something that should just require some part of your energy in a way, and to be able to just spend a spell slot, I think it's nice to be able to give a little flexibility that way.
Next ability we have here, next feature, is the Bond of Fang and Scale. 7th level, the bond you share with your Drake intensifies, protecting you and stoking the Drake's fury. While your Drake is summoned, you and the Drake gain the following benefits. You gain resistance to the damage type chosen for the Drake's Draconic Essence. Choose one of the following. The Drake gains a swimming speed of 40 feet and can breathe both air or water, or the Drake grows wings and gains a flying speed of 40 feet. And then the Drake's bite attack deals an extra d6 of the damage type chosen for its Draconic Essence. So, this is actually interesting. Let's bond you share with your Drake intensifies, protecting you while your Drake is... So, let me ask your opinion on this. I'm not sure if I think this is clear or not. The resistance, you could choose that anytime you summon it. How about the swim speed or flight speed? I feel like that's something you could decide when you summon it.
Yeah, I think that could change each time. Like one time you summon it could be a flying, fire-breathing Drake, and the next time it could be a cold-breathing water Drake, or whatever combination you want to do there. So that's really nice.
It's like just a multi-tool in your pocket at that point.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. There's an underwater adventure. All right, well, I'm gonna just summon my Drake, and we both gain the following benefits.
That's fantastic.
That's kind of sick.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be one of those things where you're probably thinking offense or defense, depending on the situation, right? If you're going up, like we used the dragon fight example with the monk, So if you're going up against a blue dragon, it's lightning. So you're like, okay, do I take lightning resistance and sacrifice the offense with the infused strikes, or do I, try something else like acid or whatever? Probably taking lightning resistance in that situation, but it's nice to have the choice either way.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing I kind of just thought of is back on the level 3, it gives the damage immunity of that damage type for the Draconic Essence too. So you could send it in to do something, right? Like, oh no, the MacGuffin we need is in the fire. Like, it's got an intelligence of 8 and it obeys your commands. It can find something for you. Like, it can go into some nasty situations. And you can even use it like an unseen servant. Like, go send it to do the trap thing over there. I know that thing is trapped.
That's definitely kind of nice.
There's a lot of versatility with that.
So the 11th level Drakewarden feature that you get is going to be called Drake's Breath. And as an action, you can exhale a 30-foot cone of damaging breath or cause your Drake to exhale it. Choose acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison damage. Each creature in the cone must make a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC, taking 6d6 damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. The damage increases to 8d6 when you reach 15th level. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a 3rd level or higher spell slot. That's pretty nice. And the long rest thing, it isn't as bad for me in this situation, because it's like you can only use your dragon once or your Drake once per long rest anyway, unless you use spell slots. So its breath weapon just kind of makes sense, I feel like. But that's not bad. 66.
That's very good. It's almost like giving this ranger, you get like, not quite, but you get fireball. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
That's nasty. You get one for free, and then every time afterwards, you have to spend a 3rd level spell slot. Obviously, great for mob control. And the other thing, you can kind of use it in 2 different locations, like depending on how far away you send your Drake, so you can really pick and choose. I don't know, that's almost like the Echo Knight a little bit in a way with from Wildmount, which is pretty cool.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It is kind of like your Echo Knight, just like another extension of yourself, just out there helping you out in there. I like that a lot.
I do too, and I think at level 11, that feels like a very appropriate time to get a power like that.
It does. I agree. 15th level Drakenwarden, you will receive Perfected Bond. Your bond to the Drake reaches the pinnacle of its power. While your Drake is summoned, you and the Drake gain the following benefits. The Drake grows to large size. The Drake's bite attack deals an extra 1d6 of damage of the chosen type for its Draconic Essence, for a total of 2d6 extra damage. When either you or the Drake takes damage while you're within 30 feet of each other, you could use your reaction to give yourself or the Drake resistance to that instance of damage. That, no limit on that, as far as I could tell. Just reaction economy. That's good. That's very good.
Yeah, that makes you really tanky.
Yeah, that's significant.
Give yourself or the Drake.
Yeah, and why not at that point? I mean, I guess this is kind of nice, because now you have 2 reactions. You could use the reaction for the infused strike and deal some more damage, or you could use the reaction for this and take half damage. Like,
this one I think takes your reaction.
It does take your reaction.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So you're still dealing extra damage then.
Yeah, I mean, there's at this level too, was this level 15 feature, right? Yeah. So at this point, you might be encountering creatures that can really hit hard, or a spellcaster that zaps you with Disintegrate, and it's like, well, here comes 80 points of damage.
40.
Or you make your save, and now that's 20. Like at this point, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of ways you could do this, and there's no limit on that feature. Like, I can easily see that getting nerfed, because that's really, really strong.
I could see that.
Especially because you have a bunch of spell slots that just, you're always going to have, pretty much always going to have your Drake out in a fight.
Yeah, if it's just a first level slot to use it once you're 15th level, I would assume you're use that for pretty much every combat.
I'm not sure you're going to get more use or more mileage out of a first level spell slot.
Yeah.
than that.
Hunter's Mark.
Yeah, sure. But also, I think, I know we briefly talked about it beforehand. The Drake grows to large size. Okay, so most characters are small or medium. You're a freaking Dragon Knight. You're going to ride a dragon into battle if you want to.
Yep.
Let's go.
That's very exciting for me.
Summon a flying one? Sure. Oh, you have underwater combat? Sure. Like, you could, either way, you're just awesome.
I wish that it was large at an earlier level, but I'm glad that it at least happens. Because that, and I understand why they wouldn't want it to happen, but at the same time, the people that brought you this are the same people that brought you the Arakocra. So it's like, my dragon that I could summon once per long rest, maybe I should be able to ride it at an earlier level, since this player character race can fly, 40 feet, 50 feet, something like that. But it just feels like very cinematic to me. Like you're on that cliff and you're just running, and people are like, what's he gonna do? He's gonna jump off? He's gonna land? Just dive off. And
summon. Yeah. There you go.
The Drake just swoops down.
I love that.
It's very cool visually, and especially if you're playing an archer. Okay, well now you're an archer riding a Drake and just shooting as you fly by. You're doing flybys.
Yeah, I know rangers are normally your territory, and I definitely would like to play one at some point soon. And this is like, well, okay, I'm making a ranger next time. Like, that's kind of the way it makes me feel. Yep. I like both a lot. I'm normally not someone that wants to manage two characters for some reason as a player. I just usually like to focus on this. The Beastmaster, I've always just kind of gone yuck when I see it. This is what the Beastmaster should have been like. I think you could easily customize some kind of template, like a wolf template or a bear template that levels up and has mechanics along these lines. I think you could work something out. To me, this is what you should have had with the Beastmaster, and I want to ride a dragon into battle, raining down hell fury with my bow, and just, I don't know, being that like iconic symbol for a battle, like this massive battle that I'm just like helming.
Yeah. that's all it is. I mean, it's just it's a sick ability, it's a sick visual, it's cinematically, rules wise, as far as like combat, and it's just everything about it is just kind of awesome. Also, I feel like the bite attack is not that bad anymore, because now you're getting 1d6 plus 2d6 extra, plus your proficiency bonus.
Yeah, it scales up. I don't think it's not the infused strikes, right? That stays at 1d6, or am I misreading that?
As far as I could tell, that stays at 1d6, which I thought was kind of weird, but I guess because it's an extra,
yeah,
that's why they use it like that. I don't know. I think they could have increased that a little bit.
It sounds like as this thing levels up, you're probably going to be less likely to do something else with your bonus action. You're probably going to be using your Drake more.
Yeah.
Right? So like, you're probably going to lean more towards like an archer, or if you're going to go melee, more like a great weapon. Or sword and board, something like that. But I could see trying to, I don't want to say avoid, but you're probably going to want to not have that competition for the bonus action economy.
Imagine being a melee ranger and just giving yourself advantage on every attack because your Drake is flanking. That's an optional rule, but I mean,
yes, I can.
That's everything as far as the abilities go. But why do you think they would decide to make so many dragon themed classes? Or I guess it's just two. I don't know. A dragon monk, a dragon ranger. What do you think? What do you think this means for D&D? Like, if they were to release this material, and I know stuff stays in playtest for forever, but if they were going to release this,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think the book's going to be? Like, are they making a Draconomicon again? Are they gonna put this in there?
It's got to be like a Game of Thrones setting, right? Or like Dragon Age, or maybe Dragonlance. Oh, I'm sure they have. 5th edition has obviously been wildly successful as far as sales numbers goes for them. I mean, this is easily, as far as just revenue, has to be their most successful launch ever. Thank you to things like Twitch and all that sort of fun stuff. They have their hands in a lot of different cookie jars, and Dragonlance has to be one of them, right? Like, this has to be. It's one of their most iconic settings.
I would think so. Yeah. I actually, I'll admit, I don't know a ton about the setting. I do know a little bit, but I recently heard that they were bringing back like an old setting, and people had been saying it was going to be Spelljammer. And then a couple people said Greyhawk too, but I don't know.
Dark Sun, I've heard as well.
I'd be fine for all of the above.
Sure.
But with the presence of this UA, I am kind of leaning towards Dragonlance now, which wasn't even really on my list of things that I thought they would release.
It's always fun to like just theory craft and see what might be on the horizon. Overall, I think both of these classes are in a really good spot to test. I could see a few things getting tweaked here and there, but nothing feels like, oh, that's not going to work. Sometimes you read it in Unearthed Arcana and you're like, yeah, that's not going to fly.
Yeah.
Dragons, they fly.
Yeah. That's always something that's bothered me about Unearthed Arcana, because like you see them talk about it, and they make these playtest materials that are just wildly overpowered, or even if they're like moderately overpowered, whatever, people get excited about it. They really like it, they want to play it, awesome, and then they nerf it when it goes to a book, and they have to nerf it. What I'm looking at here is something I hopefully they don't think this is ridiculously overpowered, because I know that they know that the other UA stuff is overpowered. But if this is what we're going to see in the future, where they're like putting out stuff that is very close to printable material, and we're not going to see things get like the hell nerfed out of it, I'm all about that.
There's enough material out there where you should really kind of have an idea if something's overpowered or not by now, right? You have 13 classes, including the Artificer, and each of them have a bunch of subclasses to look at. And if something's a little more powerful than others, power creep is a thing, but let them eat cake.
I know that they make things overpowered purposely so that people will want to play it and test it. Now we'll nerf it and put it in a book.
What's up with that?
What's up with that? That was really
yeah. Oh boy. Like, comment, and subscribe. All right, we're good to go.
Hey everybody, welcome back to JNJtabletop. I'm Jock.
We're good. Did you not hear me say we're good?
Oh, I'm supposed to start it off. Hey everybody, welcome back to JNJtabletop. I am...
What did I do? We are recording again. You talk first.
Oh, sure.
Hi, my name is Jace. He's Jock. And we're gonna talk about some subclasses here. Unearthed Arcana. I don't know why we're talking like Mickey Mouse right now.